field and the first guy they arrested, number 2. You're good.
It just.
All right, calls meeting to order. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty for all.
All right, we'll go into roll call.
Doug,
Here.
Alexis,
Here.
John,
Here.
Jerry,
Here.
Justin.
Here.
All right, do we need motion to approve the agenda? I'll make a motion. Second one. Doug, aye.
Alexis, hi.
John, aye.
Justin, I.
All right, we will open up for a public comment section here, beginning of the meeting. If anybody has anything to say about any of the items on the meeting or on the agenda, that'd be a good time to speak. Anybody online? All right. With that, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda. Make the motion to approve the consent agenda. Second. Doug, aye.
Alexis, hi.
John, aye.
Justin, I.
And we will move directly into the public hearing. Public hearing will be for the amendment to the all of Peosta zoning ordinance. Need a motion to open the public hearing. I will open the public hearing for the zoning ordinances. You have something about that?
I'm having a little difficulty.
I'm sorry. Yes, do you have something about the zoning ordinance public hearing?
I know there were several people in our development that were in the Alonia area, Salonia area, that were concerned about how the zoning was going to be on the north and south side of the service road from that perspective.
Can you give me your name and your address, please?
Yes, Mark Stewart, 249 Salonia.
I'm sorry, Stuart?
Stewart, S-T-E-W-A-R-T.
And I'm sorry, what was the question again?
So, well, not as much a question as, was this in the final ruling on what the ordinances were going to be, or the throughways were going to be on the service road?
The service road being Thunder
Where
Valley
yeah,
Drive?
whatever.
Is it Thunder Valley Drive?
Thunder Valley Road Drive, yes.
Right, this is the amendments to all of the zoning in general, correct? Yeah. So we made a few changes to a couple of the zoning. Did you have a chance to read it on board docs?
I did not. I was hoping that there would be some other people that said that they were coming. They were probably a little bit more well informed.
Sure. Yeah, we just made a few changes in the zoning.
I know that recently in the last meeting, you approved the zoning for the jumbo, which is fine, and so forth, but we were interested in additional zonings on the south side of that road there. Have any decision been made about that?
So there's a PDF that's also out on the website. You can go and review. And this will be this is just the first reading. So we'll have 2 more readings. So if you go out to the website, Peosta, City of Peosta, and you can see what she's scrolling through here. Everything that we have changed, either stricken out or added in red. So,
Okay.
and it's a citywide ordinance change. I mean, there's just slight adjustments for moving some things and adding in things that would fit into C1 and C2. Actually, all of them, right?
Yeah, all.
So,
Kind of just making adjustments all the way through. Like Jerry said, there'll be 2 other readings after this. So if you have further questions, you're more than welcome to come back in and ask the questions. If you have something specific.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is Annette, and Stuart can always feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to answer any of his questions.
And
Doesn't matter.
she's our city administrator. Okay. Yep.
and some of your neighborhood people already did, right?
Correct, I know, Mark, that, Mary Pat Kerber reached out to Lynette as well today, and so, I know that she spoke to her earlier.
Yeah, the conversation I had with Mary today, she said that she was going to reach out to several of the other neighbors and convey what we conversed about today.
She lives right next
Oh,
to us.
I guess you're just arriving. Do you have anything to add about the rezoning or the zoning ordinance changes?
Yeah, we did.
We thought this would be later on the agenda. Waiting for somebody else to get here.
Here's the copy.
Well, my question is, it's kind of confusing.
Can we get your names and addresses, please?
Dave Moore, 161 Solomia. My question is, my statement is, the new proposed ordinances are kind of contradict each other on the 2C1s. This is it says restaurant got slashed out. It says business without drive-through food. The food is slashed out. It says drive-through sales there. And then the next verse is business with drive-through sales.
Business without.
Are they one and the
Just-
same?
Well, yeah, aren't they one and the same?
What was your intention, I guess, when you tried to
What-
cross food out and replace it in restaurant out
The
It's-
first one says without drive-through foods,
without
Right,
drive-through sales?
without drive-through sales.
Sales.
Next was businesses with drive-through sales.
Yeah.
So it's both.
Right, so it's both.
They're just taking out the food part, saying that it's any business that has a drive, or any
So
business.
McDonald's, but because it's a business with
So
drive-through.
now you're
sales.
gonna allow 24-hour restaurant or drive-through restaurants to be built in the C1.
Potentially.
I thought we made that's what we didn't want to happen, because that was strictly a C2. And only a C2.
Yeah, and you're correct. The C2 is a more heavier business zoning. So the entire area on Thunder Valley Drive will be a C1, which will not allow for that heavier business type.
So basically, what you've done now is allow, you're just turning it in, back into opening up just restaurants as a C2. Am I correct in thinking in your thoughts?
C2 says.
I didn't quite catch that.
Well, it seems like you just put this portion of the C2 restaurants into the C1. Correct?
No, a C2 is a much heavier business like a McDonald's. So what we want to do is keep it on the lighter side of a business, meaning like the Jumble Coffee, like if there were to be a strip mall that was built where you would have a Pita Pocket or a Little Caesars that's not 24 hours that you could drive up to, get your food or get your wares and leave.
So is it easier if we just put in C1, businesses without drive-through sales and businesses with drive-through sales, not 24 hours, something like that?
That is totally up to the council. That's your
Clean that
judgment.
up, That's what you're saying?
Yeah, because your main issue and concern is 24 hours, right?
Well, it's not only that, it's the smell of the deep fryers. I mean, right now, we do have that, the Blackbird bar down there and their fryers. It puts out a distinct smell with the winds coming out of the south. I mean, it's a heavy smell, a heavy cooking smell, and I've been around fast food restaurants, and that's the smell you will get. And we're really close to that, so I mean, I really object. I mean, this is what we, when we bought into this is not what was
What the builder told us.
builder told us and what the zoning had told us. You told us there wouldn't be no drive-through commercial food sales are in each center. Now you're saying you're gonna allow
What was it zoned?
It was all zone C1.
And was there anything in C1 that said anything about restaurants or?
Restaurants are allowed in C1, just not with a drive-through.
So it said.
So the difference now is that we're allowing drive-through, not necessarily the fact that they've got fryers, right?
Right,
So the same thing, so we could have restaurants before
right.
built, we could still have restaurants.
But you're now more apt to have a McDonald's or a Wendy's or something, except for drive-through hamburger joint or whatever. Which-
And
which is-
again, the Wendy's or the McDonald's are going to be more of a C2 because they're going to drive a heavier traffic flow. So they wouldn't be allowed in a C1.
What says that they can't come in here under this C1 verse here?
Because they are a heavier
It doesn't
business type.
But yeah, you find that in this, in this,
So-
at least what we've read on your website.
Right, so if we went with something like Jerry mentioned, not having a 24-hour on the C1, I don't know how you word that. Not 24 hours or only open, whatever, 12 hours a day or 18 hours a day. I don't know how you word that, but would that help your concerns?
Well, it would be nice if this didn't happen. We all would agree to that. I mean, it would have been nice if.
If zoning would have done it right in the first
If
place.
it would have been caught in the beginning.
Well, and that's, I mean, zoning changes, right? It's very fluid at all times.
Right, but, I mean, this really got fluid because, oh, whoops, we want to do outside sales and you said I. Now we're saying, well, go ahead, but anybody else wants to come in, they can do it too. Now we can bring it. Yeah.
Restaurants were on C1 to begin with, so, I mean, it's inevitable they were probably gonna be there, right? So the main issue from the last time that everybody kind of, as a group came in, was the 24 hours and the after hours, the lights in the back of the
Correct.
houses and everything.
Well,
So that's actually what we took into consideration in sessions for. So if you want us to take another step on C1 and take it further and add in that clause of not 24 hours, we can look into do something like that, but it's,
I don't think
as
we're
far
gonna
as
get,
what the city can do to limit what they put in there as far as businesses, we're kind of hand tied, right? Before in C1 where you saw and we're okay with it, the restaurants and everything were there, so they're gonna be there. It's
But
inevitable.
there was no drive up. It's just not the smell and everything else. You and I both know the added traffic and the noise and these gentlemen will have more work going on with them.
Yeah, no, we understand.
24 hours, sure. So that would be, gas stations, everything.
I don't think a gas station.
Do gas stations qualify under C1?
They're not on.
Yes,
no,
no, not on C1.
No, those would be a C2. They are a heavy business district zoning.
Theater outdoor, so. Nightclub bar. So. Like we mentioned before you guys came in, this is just the first reading, so we're gonna have 2 more readings for it. We'll make this change and you guys can collectively take a look at it as a group again and then come back with your thoughts or reach out to the city, give us your input, but.
well, let me ask the council, is that something that you want to do, is make that change of putting in a not 24 hours or? I don't know how you want to word that, but is that something that you feel is necessary?
I don't think it's necessary because
I don't think it's necessary either. You got a nightclub and a bars in a C1.
Yeah.
You could have noise 24 hours anyway, or till 2 in the morning.
I mean, the way I look at it is property behind them houses that's gonna be developed. And there's no difference. When I moved into our subdivision, I didn't have no control over Sherry building what she built. I mean, I think it's fine the way it is.
Well, I'm sorry, it's Dave Ward. Last I heard, you guys were talking about doing a spot zone on this. What happened to that? I mean, that kind of fell to the wayside, or you didn't want to do it?
And then you want to talk about spot zoning?
Sure, that was brought up and we decided that we would take it back to planning and zoning and take a look at each individual zoning. And that's why we came up with the changes and the recommendation to continue having Thunder Valley Drive remain a C1 and with the changes under that C1 zoning, which allows a drive-through with sales. It's always been my recommendation to never spot zone. It's just not good. It's not a good practice for any city to do that.
Mark Stewart, do we have any idea? I mean, obviously, a lot of this is relevant to the developer and what plans the developer has. Is there some kind of map that says these are the people that are interested in that type of area and they've already sold interest in that, or is that to be determined?
I've met with the developer on a number of occasions, and I made it very clear to him that as he continues to develop on the north side of that property, that he needs to be very transparent about the businesses, the zoning, and what may or may not be built in that area. At this time, he doesn't have any plans as any other developer, especially when you buy a section of property like that. You're hoping that you get a good few anchor businesses and then the rest will develop. So knowing that the rest of that property will eventually develop out, he needs to be very transparent about who he sells lots to on the north side so that they're very aware of what that zoning is and what can possibly go in under that zoning.
So we've heard some rumors about McDonald's in the neighborhood, so I don't know if you've talked to Slavic, if that's a thing.
There's a
Yeah.
lot, there's constantly a lot of rumors
Yeah.
about what's going in, what's not. I mean, I get pulled side left and right, and we get the Culvers, we're doing this, we're doing that. I mean, ultimately it's up to the developer. And if it's up to the developer and it fits in the zoning, I mean, there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah,
Right, and then that's when it becomes public. At this point, at this time, there are no, and I can assure you with 199% out of 100, there is no Culver's, there is no McDonald's, there's no Wendy's, there's no fast food restaurants even looking at that area.
As of today.
as of today. I see you've added catering establishments to C1 that wasn't on the previous C1. Is that, the developer told you something about that, or you just went ahead and added?
No, that
That
was just added by zoning.
I don't
Thanks,
see
Phil.
it on the two comparative lists.
C2 does have. Where was it? Catering establishments.
C2 does, but on C1 original, before and now, catering was added. So you've added something.
The
You
items in
continue
red.
to add things to this list, I guess, is where I'm going with this. As things happen, I mean, you're adding things now that weren't on the list initially, so.
I would imagine things could be added.
Changes are.
Changes are made, but we'd have to go through the whole process like we're doing now and hearing from everybody and having the conversation. As we said, zoning is very fluid.
So, timeline of events kind of thing. So this is the second reading evidently,
First.
and there are two readings following.
Yep.
And then following the third reading, and those readings will be per month then?
For meeting.
Two per meeting, to me, 2 months. Then the vote, it gets voted on by the council to make it official, or the final statute goes into law.
Correct.
Yes.
For meeting.
Don't you have to advertise it on the first reading also?
We did.
It was,
That's what this is.
Where was it advertised? I'm sorry.
They're all legal notices are published in the Telegraph Herald.
Okay. I did not see it because I was watching for it. That's why I was wondering. You know what date that was?
I can tell you,
Okay.
and actually, if you're familiar looking at Word doc.
Yeah, I know.
We posted at the post office too, or Jim.
No, we do not. We just
But it's
publish.
fun.
It's just, is this the second attachment? Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that would be, that would have been published according to this on December 28th, if I'm reading this right. Yeah.
Correct.
Anybody else have anything else on this?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. Second. Second.
Alexis, I.
Aye.
Justin, I.
All right, so I guess what do we want to take on this? Want to, I guess, is there any motions out there?
Well, if we did that 24 hours.
Yeah, start all
Do it, yeah, right? And if we made an adjustment to it, we have to.
You have to-
You can make an adjustment tonight to it, but if you can't make an adjustment after tonight without going back through the process.
To back to one.
Start.
Basically, it comes down to the 24-hour food service. How's everybody feel? I'm indifferent. I mean, either way, you got like, I think you got a bar and stuff in there.
You got something that's open till 2 in the morning, so what's, I don't understand.
If it's.
And there is no big name restaurant in a
Again,
building.
buying a house or
Maybe, we don't know.
no backyard they're gonna be developing. You gotta expect something.
It was own commercial, C1.
And in 2 years from now, we could have another area that's being developed and
On the
neighborhood.
other side of the road.
Yeah, 'cause the same way saying, well, I don't want this, I don't want that. We need to stay uniform. So because then if we change it for them, then we just gotta keep on making changes, and I don't think that's right.
I don't mind listening, to thoughts on changes. But I think I agree, I agree with Justin that realistically, what's the difference between a bar that's open till 2? Drive-through's not busy at 3 o'clock in the morning. We get a car here and there.
The way that it's already listed, could McDonald's come in and say, okay, we'll be open 23 hours then?
Well, that's just it. What's the wording you're gonna have, right?
No, you'd have to say that it'd be no business open past.
Yeah.
11 o'clock,
Yeah.
drive-throughs through 11 o'clock. Or whatever.
Till
whatever you choose.
2 AM, because that's when bars have.
Right, whatever you choose.
Yeah.
Dairy Queen,
Yeah.
7 or 9.
It's a staffing.
Well, but it's,
That's staffing.
yeah, but,
Not really gonna stay open for the most part yet here that late.
but it was never open past 10 anyway.
Right. Exactly. So, I'm all right with it.
I'm fine with it.
So you need a motion?
Yeah, need a
Approve
motion.
the first reading.
I make a motion for the first reading.
A second.
Doug, aye.
Alexis, I.
John, I.
Jerry, I.
Justin, I.
All right, then we'll have the second, third, the next 2 meetings.
The second reading is scheduled for the 25th. And then the third reading will be the first meeting in February as well as adoption in February.
All right, we will move on to Parks and Rec. Stacy, do you have any updates?
So obviously the update that I have attached, wonderful baseball softball time of year is here again. So sign up has started for that. We're working on a bunch of different things as far as umpire clinics and stuff to try to help with the shortage of umpires everywhere. So that'll be one of our hurdles. And then obviously the rest, do you have any questions on the update itself?
What was our highest number of memberships? We're at 720.
725, yeah.
That's it.
We dropped, yes. So part of that, there's 3 reasons for that, in my opinion. So NACC memberships are included within that. They have memberships each semester, so their semester ended. So we're at that gap where they're starting to sign up again as far as this next semester. So that's one of the that promotion we did for a month membership for the holidays are obviously ending now. And then Renew Active is a new program, not taking the place of Silver Sneakers. Silver Sneakers is definitely still a thing, but a vast majority of our old Silver Sneakers people are working on transferring to this program called Renew Active. So It has been a transitional period for all of us. It's new for us, it's new for them, trying to find numbers, all that kind of progress, but we're getting there. So I anticipate that number to go back up by next month, maybe not to 725, but it'll definitely jump back up, so.
I don't know really how to ask this, but when was the last time we've added something new to the community center, to the PCC, different activity?
Activities,
Yeah, it's something like golf simulators.
ironically, that's not on here, but it's on my topic to talk to you guys about, so I'm ready for you today.
Okay, but I mean, since you've been here, have we added?
No, we've done updates, like bigger updates as far as flooring and new equipment and that kind of stuff, but as far as like something new like that, no.
I'm just curious, maybe we're in that standstill where we haven't changed much, haven't added nothing.
I think like updated batting cages and stuff would be good because of all the softball, baseball.
I mean, the upgrades we've done to the batting cage, I think, have been a good improvement. I think we've put some new flooring and different stuff in there. As far as like additional batting cages or something like that, I mean, we could throw up, I don't want to say throw up, but we could put up another 2-3 batting cages in like the back gym and use those and utilize them for baseball and softball, which would be great. But it doesn't make sense because the gym's already booked solid. You can't get in there as it is. So adding one more amenity for people is great, but if they can't get in and we're just creating more of a obstacle for them to reserve times, I'm not sure how that helps
So if you
either.
put 3 drop down batting cages down there, it doesn't matter because basketball teams, volleyball teams are trying to get to it.
Correct.
How's racquetball courts, are they getting used?
So no, so that is actually, so once I was done with the update, that's where I was gonna go with it, honestly. Obviously, you know, we got the grant, we talked about where we're gonna spend the money. I don't wanna say I drug my feet, but I did my research regarding a golf simulator. We kind of, my last board meeting finally decided that that is the way we wanna move forward, is with the golf simulator and making one of the racquetball, turning it into a room for that golf simulator. They still get used. They both aren't used on a consistent basis whatsoever. So I have no hesitation saying that we can take one of the courts and make it into a room for the golf simulator. So that was.
Do you think that would drive memberships?
I don't know. I've talked to a lot of members trying to, along the way, to see, I think that demographic is gonna be interesting. The younger I talk, the more excited smiles I get. The older I feel like it's gonna be more of a transitional, once you get them in there and try it, I think it perhaps will be something that they use as well. It depends how we advertise it, how we put it out there. Are we charging? What are we charging? Some of those questions still need to be answered. But I think that will depend on how we roll it out.
Well, I think location of the building would matter too, because yes, that's space that we have, but I know I've gone to U-Golf, right? And while you're doing this, you're gonna have a couple beers. Well, you're gonna want to have beer down there.
Did you say we won't have beer?
I'm just asking, do you want them in the gym? And
I do. I have not taken out the account that there possibly could. So the way the room is shaped, it's so big that the back would be like a sitting portion, like envision 4 or 6 of your buddies, going in there, having a sitting area. Obviously, one person can only do the golf simulator at a time. How exactly we would do that? Again, we still have some questions to answer moving forward. But we definitely haven't said there would be no alcohol for sure.
no, that's my question is, do you want it in the gym?
In the gym, no. In that room,
But how do you get it?
how do you get?
Alcohol into that room?
Oh yeah, we would provide it. You can't bring in alcohol.
Right. I'm just wondering if that's the right location based off of all this.
Oh yeah, no, the way we looked at it was like a little, again, we had to figure out ages and making sure everything was legal and, whatever, had to figure out all that logistics. But we were thinking, yeah, little refrigerator, you sign up, you say you want a 12-pack of beer, we have a 12 for you. The door is locked, no one else can get in besides you to get in and use that. Obviously, we'll have cameras monitoring that room. There's still questions to be answered, but I do think that it will be good for both that as well as families. So the simulator we're looking at has additional sports as well. So all the baseball, softball, we talk about that, having, pitcher throw to you, it monitors, you have a tee there, these swing, they show you, you missed the ball, this is what happened, this is where you hit it, you were too slow, you're too fast, like it breaks down all of that. I think that could be huge here. I think with how popular baseball and softball is, it could be something someone uses. Same thing with soccer, they have a goalie, you kick the ball, they say, you went high corner, you went low corner, you went, whatever. It kind of breaks down some of that stuff. I think it'd be a cool addition to the center, once we figure out all the questions.
Stacy, would it be worth putting out like a Survey Monkey on Facebook to try to gain some answers to some of the questions that you might have, and also gain some anticipation for the golf simulator?
I'd rather put out that we're getting it and go to that step. Like, I think I've done my homework, I've done the research, I've talked to members, not everyone, but I would almost rather put it out there that this is coming to like start that anticipation than ask these questions as far as alcohol. No one can help us with that. We need to figure that out internally.
No, I wasn't asking about alcohol. So yeah, I was just wanting, some of the other questions that you had, might get some answers back on that, but you've done your research.
As far as like even money and that kind of stuff, like obviously the answer is going to be members want it for free. But
Correct.
back and some of that stuff. So yeah, no, I would love to put something out there once we know for sure that that's the direction, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if a survey is done.
Left-hand racquetball court, the one with the pipe in it.
So ironically, when you look at it,
Yeah.
we were thinking the right because people said they liked the left better.
You like the pipe one?
Yeah,
Takes pipe. Really?
we can talk, we'll talk.
That's just kind of crazy.
But yeah, we'll talk to more of the people.
Whoever uses it, I mean, you just get some feedback. If they're using it best. And it might be personal preference too, because it's a right or left-handed, like you said,
True,
which side the door's on.
True.
Ball they bounce off the back wall with.
versus the north. Well, and we'll decide that. But yeah, so I guess, if you guys want me to put out a survey, absolutely we'll do that. I don't know exactly what questions as far as I'd ask right now, but
I think a lot of those questions that we have are more internal questions. Right?
yeah, I think they're all.
I think it'd be great, yeah.
Work out.
Let's figure out a spot.
Let me throw this out there. What about the stage?
Too low. I just kind of.
Okay.
Looked into it. I also was thinking back of batting cage, like where we already have like the golf hitting station. I just feel like this could be the best option to kind of close them off. Kind of not close the rest of the cage and not do whatever, just kind of have their own space. Yes, the one con is that they are walking through the gym to get there.
What's up?
Pro to that is we have cameras outside there already and that kind of stuff too, that we wouldn't have to add.
We can work through that, all that other stuff. Right. All right, anything else for Stacy?
As far as approval and that kind of stuff, obviously it's grant money due. I guess that's a fair question.
Is it budgeted?
Yeah, when we did the re-estimate, I put it in capital to be able to buy everything based on that revenue, so yes.
That's my understanding as far as the policy goes. If it's budgeted, it's okay to do it as long as the council has approved it. It's not over that budget.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Sounds good to me.
Stacy, what kind of cost are we looking at?
$55,000
Okay,
approximately. And that's the simulator as well as the stuff to convert a racquetball court into that. So power, in the camera system in there, like all that stuff, changing the door to a lock versus what, all the stuff that it takes. Soundboards, I think that's the biggest thing.
I was just gonna say the sound.
Yep, so yeah, so that's everything.
okay, one more question for you. Does our liquor license cover the entire PCC?
Yes,
Okay, thanks.
yep.
Anything else, Stacy? Anything for
Do
Stacy?
you guys have anything?
All right, thank you. Thanks. Next, we'll move on to the police monthly reports.
Yeah, you guys have my report in front of you. We did participate in the December step. Numbers are there. Next thing, with the new car purchase, we remember last month we We had gotten a charger. There was a hiccup along the way during the Christmas time of getting it into Raycom right away. They had some sickness, and it was during Christmas time, you know, during the holidays. Just got in there last Tuesday, and it should be done this coming next Tuesday. So it'll be out for, it's got its decals on it. It's all ready to go, besides what the equipment has to go in at Raycom right now. So by next Tuesday, that's the kind of the point. That's what they said, and it'll be ready to go. I know I was shooting for the first of the year, but it just couldn't work out with Raycom, just with some of the sickness they had in their building. The other thing was we had the holiday event, Santa with cookies and the parade. That was held on December 16th. I believe it was a successful event without any issues. Besides Santa and Miss Claus might have gotten some frostbite maybe on the fire truck. But other than that, I think it went well.
Still starting to thaw.
Yeah.
Why do you think I had to have surgery?
Another thing I didn't have on there that just kind of came up, I'm working on a grant for 3 new AEDs through the state of Iowa. It's a grant through the state of Iowa. It's focused on law enforcement mostly. And what it is this grant provides, what they want to do is outfit every department in the state of Iowa, law enforcement wise, every squad car with an AED. They don't currently have any, or if are out of date. Ours are starting to get out of date, so I applied for 3 new ones. I'll have an answer for you next month. It sounds pretty promising on it. What I have to do is I'll have to take some course of education for our guys, whatever, and relay it back to them and how it's going to be used and utilized. The big thing is we have 3 AEDs currently, you know, each one in each squad car. What I'm gonna do with those, I mean, they still function, everything functions good, they're just older. I'm just trying to update them. So if they're still good and working order, I've been talking with Stacy, possibly placing them, maybe one in here, I think would be a great idea, just with council and just the activities in this room here. The other ones, Stacy, you said down by is it ball field?
Yeah, in the concession stand was what we were saying.
Down
It's,
there.
Technically Clark has one as a part of Spiegel, but we don't have, in the press box, but we don't have anything, in the concession stand.
And then we can place the other one somewhere else within the city. I think, you know, I think we can utilize the old ones. They still work, they still function. It's just with this grant, with it being old, it's applying for it. It sounds pretty promising. I'll let you know next month.
Great.
Other than that, that's about all I got. Does you have any questions for me?
I don't. Anything for police?
My question was just how we pay for pads and AEDs. Like I know other towns get donations as far as I think fire. That's whatever. So I was just asking her how they.
So this is what we do with AEDs.
Okay.
If they are used.
Yep.
Fire department or ambulance will just give us new pads since we've used them and they'll give them in the hospital. It's kind of how they operate that, I guess.
Okay.
So when we use them, if they get used.
Yep.
We get them usually replaced for free. Otherwise, if they are out of expired,
Yep.
you might be able to get them through the fire department also to do an exchange for good ones. It may answering for them, but they may help you out with it. Otherwise, yeah, you'll have to buy it.
You ever check with the NICC?
I'm sorry.
NICC?
Yeah, they might do it too. NICC might do it too.
I know with the city, when ours are getting 6 months being expired, I called the fire department, they come out, they switch them out. These are gonna use them faster.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, before they expire, I'd say, you know, give it a little bit of time, but yeah, you can exchange them out and they'll use those before they
Do you know
expire.
what AEDs the fire department? Yes.
Do I know which ones? The Souls.
Souls. Sorry.
Nope, that's all right. Anything else? All right, we'll move on then to Public Works. Dean?
All right. Only thing I have in addition to what I put on the report is more so a question, I guess. And never got the opportunity to talk to Mike about this yet, but the stand-up stop signs that are out in the center for the school crossing, one got damaged. Just got word back from the guy, the sign company. He was in the hospital with COVID and stuff. He actually just got back to me late this afternoon. They're technically not legal because they have stop on them. Yield is legal, but stop is not. There's too much misconfusion and they eliminated, they actually don't recommend them anymore because it's too much confusion. Many people are stopping when they don't technically need to stop and it creates more accidents and stuff. So he said he would highly recommend not putting them up, just doing the flashers like we have there. So I guess my question to you, the council, is, I guess, first of all, did the city provide them or did the school provide them?
City purchase.
I would assume it's a city purchase.
And I think it all stemmed back prior to those flashers, right? There was some situations back a couple, 3-4 years of school.
Right, yeah, it sounded like there was.
And there were some issues, and that was our first initial attempt. And then that was before they got the flashers in.
Correct.
So now that we have the flashers in, what do you think, Mike?
Let me do
He
some,
said the flashers are legal. That's the way to go. He
Correct.
said is the
They are.
flashers. Right, so I guess my recommendation would be then we go down to the western crossing and do an additional flashing rather than spend the money on the barricades out in the street.
How much of the barricade?
I guess, let me do some research on it. And I mean, I would say, let me do some research just to make sure what the legalities are on those. You know, with it being said, stop on them. Yes, yield, I still believe you're okay.
Yeah, yield.
You're okay. So I mean, I do think those signs do provide some good, you know, people see those signs in the middle of the road, you know, and I do believe they are good, but let me just check on that.
So one of them's damaged now.
Yes, yeah, one guy.
So if we could find out also when you're doing that is what the cost of
$400.
$400 for a sign, then what the cost of those flashing signs are.
Yep.
And we kind of have the whole picture of what we're looking at.
Is it just the sign or is it the whole holder and everything for $400?
Just.
Oh, that's everything with the except, that doesn't include the base, everything else included.
Basis.
You can't just buy the panels.
Oh, okay.
But I think there are some good to those signs. I know it's kind of a pain in the butt for you just because, you know, for plowing in the winter time. But there are some good for those signs, I believe anyway.
Works out in the industrial park.
It does slow people down and it does work in the industrial park. And we have also a sign down on Peosta community down here by the ball fields, which I still believe that helped out tremendously a lot too. Again, let me do some research.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely order new ones. It's $800. I can order new ones, but
Well, let's sit tight, see what,
I would say we put yield on them.
yeah, let's sit
You
tight.
know, we could also still get the flashing lights for the opposite side, get new signs put up over there. Those are
Did we
getting
get a grant for
to
that?
the west, actually.
We had a grant for that.
That's what you got, was a grant, so
They
you're
brought to schools, yeah.
okay.
So I don't.
I would say they're about $5,000 a piece, each flasher.
So
Just keep in mind, the last grant that we got actually cost us more money than it saved us.
That was a pain.
I mean, we had to literally take them all down and put.
all those signs, yeah.
There are other grants out there, I'm thinking, that we might be able to put up another flashers over on that side, the same thing. Wouldn't do some research on that.
Would it be better to see if there's, because that one crosswalk has a button they push the lights to flash?
That's what I was gonna do. I know there's some grants out there that.
Would it be better if we looked at a different sign for the rest of the flashlights? And we push the button, LED sign come on and said stop? For traffic?
Something like a railroad crossing going.
So it's kind of like your speed sign, you know, but when they push the button, the sign lights up and says stop, both directions.
I don't know if it's necessary to do that. I mean, you're talking a lot of money probably for something like that.
Yeah, but
Versus a sign in the middle of the road there that if it's
Right.
that yield that, you know what I mean, yield to pedestrians crossing. But school does a very good job with it too. They actually have like their staff come out, sit in the middle of the road while the kids are going. We also sit in that area and watch just to make sure.
So wasn't that the issue back then, is that they didn't have anybody available to come out?
That's correct. Now they're getting maybe more staff. I don't know exactly what that issue
Right,
was.
there's no staff available to come out.
Now they are.
I mean, technically, it's illegal not to stop. That's flashing, so.
And they're bright. I give them that.
Are.
It'd be nice to have them on the other one too, just to get them both.
That's what I'm saying. I know there's some grants out there. I'm not saying I mean, I can look into it, and see if.
Even just get the price, right?
Yeah.
Find out what it is.
Come back to us and say this is what we
Because
found
if
out.
it's not worth going after the grant.
Right.
Get more money,
But I
right?
wouldn't necessarily order those things yet until we find out what route we want to take with them.
But
I mean, I would probably highly recommend matching the flashing. Have a daily crosswalk, whether we do the barricades or out in the street, I can hold off.
I think that makes sense.
because if you need, one, you take one of them ones that was down by the baseball field.
Sorry.
The signs that are down by the baseball field, ones in the road there, you can use one of them. Up there for both of them. They both say yield.
I think we're fine right now. I mean, just with the winter time, you know, because where it would be, they do have the flashing lights there. So I think we're okay right now.
Yes.
Anything else on Dean's report here? All right, we will go to the pay application number 16 wastewater treatment facility. Dean, you looked at this, looks good?
Yeah, I looked over the application that appears to be correct to me.
Did we get anything figured out with the asphalt down there?
Not a word said about it yet. Nope.
You're still retaining that money, right?
Yep. I think it's the amount of 23.5 or something like that.
Just remember that, yeah.
I'll make a motion for contract payment number 16.
A second.
Okay,
Alexis, I.
John, I.
Jerry, I.
Justin, I.
All right, go to C here, a change order number 2 final. Doug's favorite thing is change orders.
So, Cody Lawler, new hire for us. Used to work for Horacefield. He's a better engineer for us, so I'm proud of him along. Had to keep on some public meetings. So that's the unfamiliar face in the building. Regarding the change order, regarding the change order, just a final rectification of field verified quantities. Amounts to total increase for $13.20.
I guess I can accept it.
Wanna make the motion?
Sure. I make the motion for change order number 2 for sewer and water extension.
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
Alexis, I.
John, I.
Jerry, I.
Justin, I.
Next is the resolution accepting the work completed for the sanitary sewer and water extension project.
So along with the final change order, the final pay app, this is the other project closeout document, acceptance of the work with the final amount of the project. Actual document here. I don't know if there's any questions from council or.
Dean, do you have anything to add to this one?
No, I don't. Actually, Jake and I actually went through the pay application already, so.
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution accepting the work completed for the sanitary sewer and water extension project.
I'll second. Doug, aye.
Alexis, I.
John, I.
Justin, I.
All right, then we move on to the contract payment number 3, final of East Sanitary Sewer and Water.
Final payment to Horacefield, adjusted contract values for the final change order with quantities. Dean and I went through it, verified everything. We had a final punch list and a walkthrough. We completed with Horacefield to make sure everything was done according to the contract documents and what we expected. So they've lived up to their end of the bargain. So this closes out the contract and makes final payment.
I'll make a motion for contract payment number 3 final.
Second. Doug, aye.
Alexis, I.
John, I.
Jerry, I.
Justin, I.
Seems.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Stay warm. Nice to meet you. All right, we'll move on to Highway 20 lift station and force main project change order number 4.
I didn't want to accept that, but
You forced us. That's sad. Dean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this change order kind of flips the responsibility for the final connection between the two contractors from one contractor to another. I know Dean was involved, it made more sense, just given the order of where they've gotten to at this point. The other was also giving them a time extension. They requested a little bit more time for that. It's probably reasonable, given the fact that they can't get all the equipment that they need. I don't know that this is enough time, but this is what they requested, right?
correct. So it was a pretty much delay in progress on one end with one contractor versus the other. Chick-fil-A, Boomerang accepted the $1 per foot on the connection, considering that the lines were going to be duplicated coming up into the. So therefore, with the agreement between myself, B&K, Chick-fil-A, and Boomerang, the contractors, they all agreed upon it would be easier for one contractor to complete that task, to make that connection into the new manhole. So basically, that's the way this all got converted and the change order was made up, so.
On number 2, part of it. How much more is that gonna cost the city in engineering fees? Because it always seems like when we extend a project 30 days, 60 days, there's more engineering fees that we always have to eat.
There are, no, that's a great question, Doug. I can tell you, we have Rick Ross on site doing construction observation. He's not there if they're not working. So, if Rick's there for 6 hours in the day, it's probably $600. I mean, it's kind of rough magnitude of cost numbers. So, when we talk about liquidated damages, when contractors go over, that's the one thing that you could point to typically as a true damage. Okay, we're charging you more for our time by having that extension out there. There are occasionally other damages, they're typically hard to prove, but that's one of the easy ones. So that's usually the basis for establishing a liquidated damages number is that. All that being said, we're not at our full contract amount yet for the two projects together. So I'm hoping that we can still be within reason, but to answer your question, every day, if we're out there 6 hours a day, it's probably in that ballpark.
I guess to me, I don't know about anybody else, but to me, I would think the contractors that start asking for work use for calendar days, or and them 24 calendar days that they want extended, they should be liable for the fees that cost extra for engineering.
How are they doing on days worked?
Days work, they're probably behind in all reality on days work. I mean,
Like no
haven't-
days work?
Yeah, that's
That should have been your general budget, right?
As far as days
work out there. So giving them the extra time isn't really giving them anything for the damages. I mean, they're waiting on the generator, so they can't really do anything.
Our budgeted amount was 71,000 for the resident review services, and to date we paid 40,470, so we're about 30,000 left. That's what's been billed through this number.
How much more is anticipated?
Well, as far as dollar amounts, or again, rough numbers make it cost $600 a day. I would say we probably wouldn't get to our contract number. If we're 4/7, so we're 60% through that right now, we're well past 60% completed with the project. So if you had another 10 to 15 to close the project out, probably the 15 side, it'd be probably a fair estimate, provided everything goes kind of according to plan. So then we'd still be
Well, underneath the 71.
12-ish, 18-ish under budget there.
Are we looking at 24 days or is?
I would say in all reality, I think we could probably use 30 working days for a pretty realistic number.
And then there'll be something come spring as far as closing the project out sometime up there, but it'll be substantially complete in 30 working days.
Correct.
Should be.
Agreed.
The 24 starts today? Or when does the 24 start?
Already
It's
been
supposed to be
part of it.
November at 1-ish, I think, for November.
And then we extended it to December 31st.
Yep.
And then they asked for an additional 24 days.
Yep.
They actually asked for 30 days, but the agreement that Jacob and I had was
Right.
2 weeks at a time.
Yep.
So realistic.
Only because I felt they were taking advantage of us at 30 days,
Are they gonna be coming back in 2 weeks asking for more, two more?
more than likely.
They very well, probably, yeah, but to Dean's point, if we give them 30, they'll for sure take 30. If we give them 2 weeks at a time, it kind of keeps the level of urgency on them to keep moving and have to request that additional time.
I didn't want to give them 30 days at a time and they not show up for the first 12 days and work and take advantage of us. This way they're forced to work and take advantage of those days that we give them.
Well, Mr. What if we said, what if we were to say no on the extension?
There's probably in all reality, in a legal battle, there's probably not much we can do it, but the fact that they couldn't get materials to start the project. So in all reality, at this point, I don't think it's worth the fight, that as long as they keep effort toward that project, I would probably agree upon giving them the extensions, but only to the 2 to 3 week period at a time,
But I feel that's what's.
so that they're not abusing the time.
Is will keep on coming back, asking.
Just asking, at what point do we put the line in the sand, you know?
Yeah.
I would say that if they were to ask one more time, that's it. I mean, if you have, especially if you have all of your equipment, and that's kind of a force majeure type thing, if they can't get something to come on site, you know, their hands are tied, they're a little bit euchred, but if they have all of their stuff and it's just them getting manpower on site and the weather's, you're able to work, I think you just tell them, okay, this is the third time you gave me an extension, this is it. If you're asking for a week, we're gonna give you 2, and you better be done, or else we're gonna get into the liquidated damages, so.
Because I mean, I can understand the weather, but equipment, that's not our problem. That's theirs. If they can't get it there, that's not our problem.
It's not your problem, it's not the materials, though, it's not theirs,
Right. That's why I said equipment.
yeah.
You know, Martin's has equipment, Case has
Yeah.
equipment.
I think what Steve's referring to as far as equipment, operating equipment, that
The generator.
the generators,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
PLC panels, the pumps and stuff of that sort, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
The delivery date on the generator was supposed to be December 15th. Then in short notice, it got pushed back to the 21st. And then it finally showed up last Thursday. So whatever that date was. So there is just one item in general that was pushed back almost a month.
So is everything else done except for the stuff they're waiting for?
Yeah, pretty much, I mean,
They got the directional drill in that,
the building's in place,
yep. You know, probably in all reality, a week, they should have the directional drilling all done. Be a matter of some testing and you know, just buttoning up some loose ends that.
You said 30 working days, you'd be looking at like the 4th of February, you said. Well, what you thinking? Are we giving them 24 days from today or from?
24 days was asked for from the 31st
yeah,
of
well, it
December.
actually extends to January 24th. as I
Correct.
recall, So it's,
Correct. So that being said, come the second council meeting of the month, if they need an extension, they're gonna have to
Back
for another.
2 weeks from now and ask for an extension, then you'd say, you're done.
This is
You got a
it.
week,
This
you're
is
done.
last day.
Yeah.
Right.
In all reality, we signed this change order tonight. To me, that's when the 24-day period starts.
so I don't think, that was worded as 24 days, I think it was extended to January 24th.
That was to my understanding. That was agreement that I had with Jacob anyway.
Yeah, so it was, technically, yes, it said a 24-day extension, it would start if it got approved tonight. But the agreement was to extend it to January 24th, wasn't 24 days.
Right, yeah, the 24th to the 23rd.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there would have been a delay period between the 31st of December until tonight with an approval of working.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll
So the
second.
change order, great.
I'll second it. No. Doug?
Number 4,
Alexis, I.
John, I. Jerry, I.
Justin, I.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome, thank you, Annette.
We will then move to the contract payment number 7, Highway 20 lift station and force main project.
Pretty self-explanatory, that's the request for payment, you reviewed it.
Yep.
Concur.
Yep, and actually, Rick, the onsite inspector with V&K, and I went through it as well, so. With any questions that either of us may have had, so, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve contract payment number 7, station and force main project.
Second, Doug, aye.
Alexis, I.
John, I.
Justin, I.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next item is the McKenna driveway request under Ridge Estates. Do we have any type of narrative for us here, other than what we have?
Actually, this is just for discussion tonight. This was brought up at our work session. The McKennas sent a letter addressed to council wanting access off of the driveway where the water tower and maintenance building is, so that they could sell a portion of their property for a single family new construction. There are some concerns. We did have a robust discussion on this, and I know that Dean had made some concerns prominent, one being that there is a hydrant that's right there where they want to build a house. Secondly, there's an issue on the gravity for the sewer. So Dean, you can jump in at any time. I think that what we need to do is get the research completed to see if it's something that they can do by connecting into the sewer. I would highly recommend that if we were allow access to that new construction, that we work with them on a land swap of doing an easement of their property, allowing us to get back to the lift station, and then us giving them a piece of land to the north of the tower and the maintenance building for the access for that new construction.
Yeah, and I guess in all reality, my biggest concern with giving them access through there is that pretty much dampers our limits to any need for expansion over there on that well site. That very well could be a potential site for some of the water study that's being done. And with that being said, allowing an access through there, an easement through there, that's pretty much gonna put our, that's gonna limit us to any expansion of that well house that might take place, or the construction that needs to take place over there. I mean, a concern we'd also have to have is, the damages on that road over there. Who's gonna maintain it? Who's gonna plow it? So, I mean, I think our limits are just too narrow to be giving that access or that easement. As much as I wanna work with them, I feel that it's gonna be a true headache in the future.
Has anybody talked?
Future expansion.
So they got their lane coming in on the left-hand side, about running a lane over to that property from their existing lane.
Yeah, and
No,
technically.
the letter says that they didn't want to do it because
The cost is
of green space, the cost and all that stuff.
Right, but technically, there was a plotted street coming off of where their lane comes off of Thunder Ridge Drive or Thunder Ridge Road, whatever it is, which was Shayley Drive. And that's where the access to their property was built.
And is that on that Shayley Drive or whatever it was, is that where their lane is right now?
Yes. Yep.
So that's actually supposed to be a street.
So that's technically was a street.
Platinum Street.
So how does this work? Oh, we've got the water and sewer, but as far as construction, any of that type of stuff, who monitors that stuff? Is that the homeowners
County.
association?
The county.
How deep is that well?
That's a Jordan, I
I'm not real familiar with that well over there, Doug.
It's 1,048 feet deep.
So if you had to pull that well, how much room would you need for all the pipe to be laid out to get to the pump? Is it pump at the
But
bottom
that well over there can't really provide enough water.
or anything?
I mean, it's basically now just a backup.
Yeah.
That's why
I
figure
I just think,
that easement, because I think,
I was just thinking if you had to pull that well, you gotta have room outside to put all pipe, to lay all the pipe out.
right, absolutely.
Well, then what kind of water retention would you have there? You probably have a ground one potentially there, right? Like a ground reservoir versus the great big one over here. Cause that one you can't use that water tower, right?
That tower isn't getting used. No.
No, isn't there like 4 pneumatic tanks there, Dean?
Yeah, there's pressure tanks over there, but everything's boosted by our booster station right now, technically. I mean, their water is being served from the city of Peosta. And it's boosted, that's what the little brick building down the Cox Springs Road. So,
Yeah,
but I mean, with future, I mean, and, possibly annexation to be had going east of Cox Springs Road, I mean, with the developments that are over there already, I mean, there very well could be, a constructed tower over there and a new well drill, to serve that area.
It would have to be because it's only pumping like 80 gallon per minute right now.
Yeah, that well over there is not suitable by no means for barely enough to serve the Thunder Ridge community alone with very low pressure.
So
Exactly.
would that amount of space that we currently have be enough for a bigger well and a larger tower and all that?
I think it would, but technically,
I'm trying to look up the plat of the property right now. How big is it?
I'm not sure on the size of the lot, no.
That's the next one.
48,000 square feet,
Let's move.
48,000,
So it's an acre.
a little over here.
Yeah, that'd be enough.
I'd hate to give any of that up just to have to find it later, you know what I mean?
Well, I really like the idea that Dean had brought up, that there was a road that was platted originally. So I would like to research that myself some more.
That's just the lane, right?
That's the lane that's on their property.
Going into their house right now. So you have the potential, that ideally that should feed the lot going to the east, right? Come in there and then.
Yeah, that's the way it was platted. That was supposed to be the purpose of that platted street, Shaley Drive is what it was platted as.
Thunder, yeah, we're, yeah.
How soon will you have the water survey complete?
We have the preliminary done, but haven't checked over. It's probably a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks yet before we have it completely finalized. I've got the information we've done that we think we need for grant purposes, but in order to get it, we need a few more weeks to.
So maybe by our next meeting, we have like a rough draft.
Yeah, I can shoot for that.
The culprits.
Yeah.
I'd be skeptical.
We're kind of like.
Okay, we'll give you 10 feet. Get 10 feet from your neighbor.
I'd still be skeptical based upon whether our water needs are at that this actual time. I mean, hopefully we have a lot of future ahead of us and with a lot of future expansion. I mean, that need may come 20 years from now. We don't want to, contain them limits.
No, I agree. And that's a pretty good waterway through there too.
It's definitely, there's a lot of water that.
So you have the street there, whatever you put there is gonna have washout or whatever potential runoff, make it even worse. So they're better off coming from the west to the east. You get the grade, you get away from the fire hydrant. And it's their green space, but if they want to split it and sell it, that's probably their best option.
Now, as far as the sewer side, this might be jumping way ahead, but as far as the sewer side of things, they place the house or they have the gravity feed to the sewer. Does that fall back on the city to put pumping station in then?
No, they would have to put a pump in their house.
Okay,
But I mean, the fact that whether it's gravity or pump is determined on elevation of the house. So,
right.
I mean, that's undetermined at this point. Okay. So, but that'd be on the homeowner to put a pump in their house.
All right, anything else on this one? So do we need any type of action or direction or?
No, this is purely discussion. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to Dean and then to Doug Herman. And we'll put our heads together and come up with a response back to the McKennas.
All righty. All right, thanks, Dean. And next is the fiscal year 23 budget and the budget calendar. Annette, do you have some input on this one?
I do. Again, this is just for information so that we can continue to stay on task. I still need a list from council on projects that you would like to see for the upcoming budget. I've also working on scheduling meetings with the department heads. I've already met with Chief Comer, so he's off the hook for now. So I need to speak with Stacy and Dean and get that wish list put together.
I got
Today,
a question for you, Annette.
Sure.
I can't remember who I was speaking to, someone in this room, but I don't remember who it was. We had a conversation about items that were budgeted for this year that due to supply chain issues, or whatever the case may be, we never got or weren't able to purchase. Are we able to compile any type of list of such items?
yeah, I'm sure that we can put something together.
I guess my reasoning is that if we've got unused money, right, that we thought we're gonna buy some X, we have that money left over, are we able to use it to something else?
Well, that's,
Or roll it over to next year?
that was one of my questions.
So the way that would work is that the monies could be spent within the program. But likely what would happen is on the re-estimated section of the budget, if we know those things aren't gonna come in before June 30th of 2022, we would lessen the re-estimated amount. We're gonna have to budget for them again in fiscal year 2023. We can't just roll it over. It's not an automatic.
So I guess if maybe we can get a list or a whatever, just compiled that the stuff that we thought we were gonna get and we didn't pay for, and we didn't receive, that would help us for the budget for next year, right?
It's kind of what we do every year with, we have this with projects every single year. You never know how much of a project is gonna be completed before June 30th. We do our best guess, but then we budget that, we heavy budget in the next fiscal year, so we're not doing a budget amendment in July to make sure that, those things are covered.
So we never do rollovers. So like if
You can't.
we do it all the time, every year,
I'd be interested in how you did that,
just roll over next year because we didn't purchase that.
but on the
The-
back end.
The price has to stay the same. You can't raise it or lower
Right,
it.
but on the back end for the city's side, they're budgeting for it again the next fiscal year.
Right,
Counting of it, they
right,
are.
We're
We're not rolling
We're-
it over,
yeah, right,
your department's rolling it over, but
right.
correct.
the accounting part of it is.
Yeah.
I'm explaining the legal part of it.
So if they didn't get something because they couldn't get it, they could roll over, then we'd still have to.
They would still have to put it in the budget for
Right,
next year.
right.
Yes.
Thanks, Karen. So I guess what I need from the council is as soon as possible, get that list to me. We're kind of on a tight schedule as it is. Also, I wanted to mention that I did schedule a sidewalk committee meeting today that Doug Hughes had asked me to put together so that we can look at having that budget item as a line item in the budget coming up.
Have you guys seen the CIP? No, CIP. Should probably get them to you. Gives you an idea of what we have planned.
Because it's the short-term, long-term stuff that we want to do.
And that they're talking here internally about getting the CIP to Justin and to Alexis.
Yes, and thanks for being my interpreter, because you're kind of breaking up.
Sorry.
We'll definitely get that to you.
Anything else on the budget?
Not at this time.
We'll move to the professional service agreement for well number 2 standby generator. Annette, Dean?
Actually, Dean and I discussed this, and we would like to use the American Rescue monies for a backup generator for well number 2. We do have a standalone, and I'd reached out to Dean, and I know he's been busy, so I need to know what the model is and the size. But I also want to caution the council too that in my prior 2 jobs, we did have a generator that we could, move to different places, but it truly just becomes a pain in the rear because you're having to go out, check to make sure it's running. You have to make sure that it's full of gas. It's just more of a pain in the rump than anything. And I think that this is just a good plan to have backup generators on all the lift stations and all of the wells. So what we've estimated, the cost on this generator is around $120,000. To date, we've received $139,239. That's half of the total amount that we will be receiving. So we're just looking for permission from the council to move forward with that PSA.
Yeah, and also to add to that, by having a permanent generator up there would allow that generator, just like at our main lift station, at the wastewater treatment plant, down here at the booster station, immediately when the power goes out, that generator kicks in. Otherwise with that portable, we have to come in, hook up to it, get it to the site, get it hooked up, and make sure that runs. With that permanent on-site one, it routinely kicks in every week so that we know that it's gonna run. That way that would allow at least one well to provide water throughout the city in an emergency case and allow us time to have that temporary one to use on wherever we may need it. We might have to take it to well 3, maybe possibly to a different lift station or whatever it may be, but at least we have that backup generator. And we do have one well that's gonna automatically kick in on an outage.
That's
So,
Does your backup generators have a call out, so kick in and run it and notify somebody?
they don't notify anybody, but they'll kick in and they'll signal the alarm just that they kicked in. Yeah,
Yeah, as long as someone gets notified that it's running, because
yep,
I've had ours kick in and run and 600 gallons of diesel gone and you don't even know it. And then when you need it, it won't start. It's like, what's going on?
right.
And then you can have a backup at that point.
Yeah.
Right. So they're scheduled to kick in 1 day per week. The one, I think the booster station one is Mondays it kicks in, runs for an hour. The main lift station, I think, kicks in on Tuesday, it runs for an hour. And like I say, it signals an alarm, so we know that it kicks in. That alert comes in.
And I guess why we've got, is Steve still there?
Steve's still here, yes.
Okay, yeah, when we put together this RFP or scope, can we make sure that that generator has a muffler on it? Because it will be in a residential area?
Yes. we
Okay,
can.
thank
That's
you.
pretty standard for us anymore, just because no matter where you're at, someone's gonna complain.
And that generator in particular will also have to run off of LP versus diesel, just because of the emissions and stuff being so close to a well.
So that standby generator that we have, the portable one, is that big white trailer we've had for years? So how's that thing doing?
How's it doing?
Yeah, how many times has that been used since?
Yep, so we had to use it, I believe it was 2 years ago, down here at the Highway 20 site. Somebody, not sure who it was, backed into the power transformer down there and put the lift station out of power, so we had to take it down there to that site to get us by for. It's
Pretty full, isn't it? That one is.
It doesn't get a whole lot of use, but I mean, we'll start it up, 2-3 times throughout the year, just to, and keep the batteries charged and stuff like that, just to make sure, and maintain it and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think it's good to keep around.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the amount of use is very minimal on it. So it's not like it's racking up a lot of hours. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
With the permit generators, do we have on the ones we do have, or do we have to have that air permission, pollution testing and stuff?
No, there's no testing for it. It's just kind of an honor system. DNR will come out and do their inspection. They won't test it, but they'll see, are you doing something to try to.
We actually got the approval back from the DNR that the one that got cited at the wastewater treatment plant doesn't need testing. Yep, we just got the notification yesterday here.
Yes,
Monday.
I believe so. Recently.
I think ours is 600 horse or 800 horse, and we have to have a.
Yeah, you're under a different wing of the DNR, so a
Okay.
little bit.
You guys are a little.
We might as well be the R&D.
All right.
All right, so you need a motion or do you need?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll make a motion for well 2 standby generator. I'll second. Okay,
Alexis, I.
John, yeah.
Justin, I.
All righty. Anything else for anybody at this point? Citizen comment. Okay, we'll open it up for citizen comment for anything that was on the.
Annette, there is
Agenda?
some information under other. Did you want to talk about that or not?
Actually, I can give you more of an update that Doug Herman and I have a meeting scheduled tomorrow at 3 p.m. with Zach Ramirez, the legal counsel for Alliant. We proposed some changes to their resolution, and hopefully we'll get some headway made tomorrow. So I will report back as soon as I have any information and/or at the January 25th meeting.
Yeah, sorry about that, I didn't see it. All right, now we'll go to citizen comment. To offer comments and or. All right, then we need a motion. Go to closed session.
And I need whoever's gonna make that motion to read the entire thing. Please, and thank you.
I'll make a motion to go to closed session in accordance with chapter 21.51J of State Code Iowa, which reads as follows: to discuss the purchase or sale of particular real estate only where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price the government body would have to pay for the property or reduce the price the governmental body would receive for that property. Second.
Was that Jerry? I'm sorry.
That was me.
Okay, thank you.
Doug, aye.
Alexis, I.
John, aye. Jerry, aye.
Justin, I.
Okay.
See y'all later.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, everyone.
Thank you. That's the second.